Hell, so once again, um, recently I've been seeing a lot of posts on some of these group pages that people have asked me to get on, and I'll get on them, but I really won't post anything. I won't comment on anything. There's really only one page or group that I'll post on, and that happens to be a page that's really geared towards prison ministry, which is something that I'm really into right now. So that's probably the only group that I'm actually really active on, so to speak. But one of the things that I'm seeing in a lot of these groups that I'm in is this outward attack on everybody that claims to follow the 14 words or claims to uphold the 88 precepts. And a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing is just straight up lies. It's stuff that's not even true. Most people that I see that do a lot of this posting, they like to label everybody that claims to follow the 14 words or claims to follow the 88 precepts. The first thing they want to start labeling us and calling us is these buzzwords they got. Neo-Nazis, white supremacists, white trash, haters. The list can go on and on and on. And then they want to go so far as to claim that we're not heathens, we're not Odinists, we're not wokenist, we're just gang members, and we're using the signs and the symbols of our ancestors to promote gang violence and gang activity, and basically try to make us out to be the scum of the earth. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, except when your opinion is based upon a lie and you're doing nothing more than repeating what the ACLU, the ADL, the media, what they say about us. But the truth of the matter is that most of us who follow the 14 words actually live by those, and we actually believe in them. And yes, a lot of us came out of these gangs. We came out of the so-called white power movement. A lot of us claim to have been white supremacist. And so yes, there is a little bit of truth to that. But what most people really don't understand, especially those who are on the outside looking in, what they really don't understand is that the 14 words is what brought us out of that state of mentality that we were in. The 88 precepts was something that was handed to us by David Lane and Ron McVan, not meant to be a set of rules to completely follow or to completely hold above all else, but they were really only meant, according to David Lane, to be a stepping stone in order to give us something to look at that would bring us out of, I would call it, the state of darkness that we were in at that time. So to label us with labels that don't fit us is really unfortunate, because you're pushing away a lot of people that bring really a lot of good. Because most of us who claim to follow the 14 words and claim to follow the 88 precepts, most of us are members of what would be called Wotensvolk. So when you say that we're not religious, that we do not embrace the path of our ancestors, that's completely wrong, because the majority of us, when we embraced this way of life, we embraced it through the Temple of Wotan of Ron McVan, the Creed of Iron, the Book of Blotar. I mean, we embraced the way of life, and we try to live like that. Now, I will give credit to, or credence to, certain things that people have said. Yes, there is gang members who use the 1488 and they don't use it, nor do they live it the way it's supposed to be. There is gang members who put Swazis on them, who put bolts on them, who do all these things that don't live by the true essence of what the 14 words were, or even what the 88 precepts are. Because you cannot be a true follower of the 14 words and the 88 precepts, and you do drugs, you sell drugs, you promote prostitution amongst our women, you promote the degradation of our race, you promote the how would you put it? You are promoting everything that go against what the 14 words and the 88 precepts are. So if you are selling drugs, or you are doing drugs, and you're claiming to follow the 14 words and the 88 precepts, you are so far off, because in the 88th precept, it specifically states that one of the signs of a sick and dying nation, and it gives several lists of what these signs are, but one of those is drug use. And it says that if you are doing drugs, you are committing treason against your own race. So if you're going to judge people and throw buzzwords out there and try to degrade a group of people who are only trying to live a life that was better than the life that they have chosen, that they had been on, why not try to help to uplift them rather than trying to step on them and make them look like they're other than something that they're trying to achieve? Because all this attacking with this neo-Nazi stuff and these labeling us gang members and all this stuff, if you have never been inside of a prison system, then you don't understand how politics works. You don't understand the lifestyle that many of us was put into. So in many cases, we really embraced a group of people that we could connect with to a certain extent. But once we crossed over, and once we started embracing the 14 words, the 88 precepts, and once we started to embrace this way of life, then a lot of us got away from that. A lot of us have achieved greatness through following these particular set of guidelines. So I would ask that the people who are doing this, do your research. Reach out and maybe sit down and talk to a person that claims to follow that, and you'll find out that most of us are so far away from what you think we are that it's pathetic. Just because we quote the 14 words and you don't, but yet you use the word focus. It's basically the same thing. Unless you're one of those individuals who's took the word focus and used it as a universal aspect, meaning that anybody, no matter their race or whatever it is, can embrace our way of life. If that's the way, or the universal terminology that you're using towards focus, yes, we're not on that. But there has to become an understanding of, at some point, you have to stop and listen and get to know us to understand that we're very spiritual person. We're very spiritual people. We worship the gods and the goddesses. Many of us study the runes. The only difference is that we combined what's happening to our race today, and we combine that with our ancestral belief and our ancestral ways. If you don't do that, that's fine. But we have to stop tearing each other apart, especially when you're doing it and you don't even really understand what it is that you're saying. Because I don't think any heathen who uses the word focus the way that it's supposed to be used, I don't think he would have a problem, he or she, with somebody saying we must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children. because the beauty of the white Aryan woman must not perish from the earth. How can anybody have an issue with that? How can anybody have an issue with somebody claiming to follow the 88 precepts when those 88 precepts are taking him out of a dark mindset and putting him on a path to enlightenment? Now, I'm not saying that everybody, that when we learn the 14 words that we stay right there. No, many of us have evolved from that. And that is greatly to the individual who first introduced this stuff to us, or individuals, and that was David Lane and Ron McVan. And I don't think anybody out there that claims to be a heathen could ever say anything bad about Ron McVan and everything that he has done for the prisoners and the uplifting that he continues to do to many of us that got out. So I won't bore you into a long video, but stop with the buzzwords. Stop calling people like us neo-Nazis when we're not neo-Nazis at all. Most of us don't even prescribe to the white supremacy thing. I definitely do not subscribe to the white supremacy thing. I am a separatist. I don't want to rule or judge or be supreme over everybody. I am a separatist. I want us to have our own homeland where our children can grow up and learn. With that said, as always, hold that heathen hammer high and fuck their world.